Today, we look at Grunt and Jersey Red, everyone's favorite figure from this release. Apparently, people love it. You got the accessory set, that's number one. Number two is this lady. Come on, really? Let's get into it. So, starting with the front of the box, we've got some great illustrations and this classic turtle color setup that they've been doing with all the animated 2-packs, which is really nice. And very clearly, I guess, the van, right? I just now realized it's the top of the van and the bottom party wagon. Doesn't matter. You call it whatever you want, okay? So here we go. We've got a nice view as always, and the kind of classic Technodrome in the back there for the villains. But I like these accessories, looking real nice. So let's look at the rest of the box, I guess, right? That would be logical. Top of the box, we've got the Turtles logo, little warning, all the same boring crap that nobody cares about, but on the bottom, this is what matters to me, and it should matter to you as well. Look at these people, okay? These people matter. We couldn't have any of this without these folks putting all the work in. So thank you so much, love it. And inside of the box, we got a nice figure shot, and same thing on the other side. On the back of the box, good stuff. We got some bios about the two characters, which I am not gonna read, and then just not know anything about these figures because it's been a really long time since I've seen these folks and what they did in the thing with the show and the characters. Turtle people haters. Turtle haters? Is that what they are? And then obviously stuff that has come out along with this during this wonderful haulathon that people are super happy with. So let's open it up and get a closer look. Stink. Yoink. And I should mention that this is all possible thanks to Frosty Reviews, who has sent me stuff in the past. This time I found the things and then I'm gonna review them and I'm sending them on to her because she's so kind and lets me open up all her toys for her and all of you actually. So that's cool, right? Let's slide that out upside down. Who doesn't love a nice upside down view of the figures you came here to see? And then we've got this insert which we have seen before and I love it. A good Technodrome shot, some classic art style. Right side up, the best way to view things. Now look how good these are. I mean, who's too dumb to like this stuff? Which one of you's the dummy that doesn't like it? Because it's good. These is some good stuff. Now, the issue that I have been made aware of thanks to the internet is that there are some hands that are wrong for him. Their skin tone, they should be this tone. Is this the right guy that I'm thinking of? He's got claws on that hand, but you know what? I think the claws are shorter on this hand. So I think they're just transformation hands, y'all. I think they're transformation hands, or they're not supposed to have nails on them. Because look, I think, doesn't matter. Let's just open this thing up. I already did that. Let's get it out of the plastic with these stupid white ties. I hate them. We'll be right back. All right, so here we go. We've got some nice stuff to look at because it's made by NECA. I think that's pretty clear, right? Is that why it's nice to look at? I don't know what I'm saying anymore. Let's just see what we've got here. So for her, this one, Jersey Red, we've got this hand that's clearly set to be a trigger. We've got this hand, which I guess is gonna hold the spray paint. We've got two just kind of open hands to do whatever, like kind of fighting karate poses. And then he has the potential issues here with the extra hands that have fingernails on them, and then these human hands. So these are open, these are closed. Are they the same? Scott, we'll get into it. We've got a sword, we've got his little lizard body thingy, and him and her. Obvious. All the things that I just said were obvious. Hand, sword, guy thing was stuff. It's, what am I even doing with this part? Let's just like get into it. So details, looking at her hands, Jersey Red's hands. We've got the gun hand, right? The nice little grip. So we've got some pretty obvious like seams going on from the mold, but you know, I think it's okay. It is a toy. It's a bit of a bummer, but you can see how this center of the hand is split from the rest of it, the top and the top half of the finger. So that's kind of interesting. And these seams and stuff obviously only look this bad because they're, as we say, up the camera hole. The gripping, well, not even gripping hands, just the kind of open fighting, whatever, clawed hands. We've got the spray paint, which is pretty basic. I mean, it is coming from an animation, so I imagine it's super basic in the animation. Is this even spray paint? What am I talking about? I don't know. It looks like a spray can, but it doesn't have a nozzle on it. But it also looks like it could attach to this and have like, it's a flamethrower, bro. Am I an idiot? You tell me down in the comments if I'm an idiot or not. Looking real nice. I love the details on this stuff. Man, I just can't get over it. NECA, you guys just do such a great job. Sculptors, painters, hands down, some of the best out there. For the price, you can't beat it. That's stupid. It's stupid. It's stupid! How cheap it is! Grunt's hands. Let's look at Grunt's hands. So we've got these, which are just gripping, obviously, hands for his sword. They're basic. They got little nubby fingernails, but these, same color, and then, whoops, the controversial hands are these, because look, they've got the claws. And it would make sense that if he changes into the lizard boy, he's got claws, right? And he can still hold his sword with this body. But as it sets right now, those hands don't work with this because they're the wrong color. Big issue. Big issues. All those nice things I just said about you, NECA, I take it back. I'm taking it back because you done screwed up. So we've got the sword looking real good, of course. I mean, nice sculpting and stuff. So you got this raised bits here for the wrap on the blade, or the handle rather, and then the paintwork, the line work, looking nice. And then the fact that, you know, it's matte versus a semi-gloss. You guys, you know what you're doing with that stuff. So let's look at the lizard body. So he's got that sweet looking He-Man strap going around the front and back of it. But man, look at that. The hair looks awesome. Obviously the tongue looks nice. He's still got his sunglasses or whatever, glasses, sunglasses, right? Man, it's just classic. Details are awesome. Big fan of this stuff. I'm telling you, I don't know. You know, you compare it to other brands and NECA just always does so well for the price. And in classic fashion of this channel, I did not heat these things up, obviously. I just took them out of the box and showed you. So we get to the joints, they're not gonna break. Seal of approval from this guy, they're not gonna break. So looking at Grunt first, he's nice, you know, he's got some good bone structures going on there, a little gaunt, if you will. So he could do with the transformation. He's kind of sickly in the face, but details otherwise, you know, nice. The line work is all apparently hand done. So you get this kind of unique outlines on every single figure. They're not all going to be exactly the same, which is, I think, is pretty cool. And this is off center on both of them. So I assume that's just how it's supposed to be, right? Right? It's just a little bit to the right on both of them. Is that like a really specific detail to the animation, or do they just happen to sit on their body that way? So the pattern here looking good. It's actually textured, like raised. You can see that, right? As the light hits it. So it's not just a line pattern. It's actually sculpted that way, which is nice. Attention to detail. I'm gonna praise it every single time. Now, Jersey Red, everyone's favorite. So that hair looking real fun. She's got that sweet attitude going on. Her eyes look maybe a little bit off. A little cross-eyed, a little lazy eye on the left one. But, you know, that's gonna happen with hand-painted things. It's okay. The little spikes, nice detail there. Arms looking good. They got a little bit of imperfections going on there in the paint. A little blemish right there as well, like some kind of cut or something. But man, looks good. Belly button, look at that. Got some depth to it, so they're really taking all of the detail pieces into consideration with the handkerchief or whatever you will call it. I love it. The boots, man, this is so good. And again, the only complaint I have is just when they do two-tone stuff like this. So I wonder why they don't have two-tone skin on the humans versus like turtles and pretty much everything else. Like Rex 1 had two tones. She's only got it on her pants. He doesn't have it anywhere. It's a little inconsistent with the two-tone stuff. So, I mean, that's good. I'd rather have the solid color than the two-tone set up. And it doesn't look as bad on her because it's right down the seam, but otherwise, yeah, back the boots as well. So peg holes, of course, that's kind of consistent with NECA when it matters for their size. So she's got some tiny feet. I wonder if that's going to be an issue for posing or anything. All right, so let's look at articulation. We'll start back here with Grunt. So his head, clearly, I mean, look at that. It's just like just a huge ball joint, but it's going to spin around no problem. There's nothing stopping that. He can look down, not too bad at all. Looks up pretty well, and then he's got some tilts and stuff because of that ball joint. That's really good. The shoulders, they're pretty tight. Let's see. So I feel like this is kind of a weak point because how tight it is in the shoulder. You might want to really be careful trying to push up like this. I think you could snap something, and that's not necessarily a quality issue. It's just, you know, you have different levels of stuff and you're applying pressure, right? So all of this could snap if you just lift at the arm. So a little tight, but be careful with it because obviously this arm is going out a little bit more. Could just be paint's a little thick. And you know, it's never a bad idea to warm up your figures. So think about that, or don't you? Put that in your brain. Should I warm up my figure? Do I care about breaking it? And if you do, guess what? Yeah, you know, warm it up. So the arm at the shoulder obviously can rotate as well. Go straight up, all the way around. Awesome. And then you can see this bicep section looks like it would twist, but it don't. It sure does look like it. I was convinced of it. Still not convinced it doesn't. But that line is painted, so you can't, that seems weird. Shouldn't that rotate? Doesn't. Does rotate at the elbow though, and you got this kind of elbow droop section. I don't know what you would call that. Hanging down from there. So it is a single joint. That's okay. These are just kind of extra characters. I don't think that I cared as much about having incredible articulation and a bunch of characters I don't care about. Obviously, a lot of you do care about these guys, so we will still do it. The wrist goes all the way around and a nice 90 degrees. See, so he works really well. Simple. I mean, just 90 degrees on the elbows too, but look at this. We got this kind of ab torso section going on. He can do any crunches? Nope. Not really. You get some wiggle there, but not really any crunches. You can't go too much wiggling and stuff, but it's enough to kind of get some extra range out of him, which is nice. Better than nothing. The waist was spinning all the way around, and that's about it. The legs, you can kick out, and we could do some splits. You can go full splits, which is awesome. We got double jointed knees, thank goodness. We got these pads, which really help sell, you know, the covering. It really sell cover time. What am I trying to say? There's his two-tone. That's the only spot on his whole body. It has two-tone colors. Weird. Double jointed knees, love it. Put a pad on there, you can do double joints all day. No rotations down the leg except for at the boot, which does make sense, so thank you for putting it there. And then the ankles are just kind of a traditional, it looks like. We've got this going down, going up just a tad, almost just straight out, not a whole lot extra going up. And then the rotation of the, yeah, typical ankles. Lizard body, obviously no articulation around the neck area because it's all just, you know, very obvious. But the face has some articulation, which is pretty interesting. So that was a cool choice. Just rotates, doesn't have a whole lot of range, but you can kind of go up and down a little bit. So better than nothing, right? You can go a little left and right. Really, really cool. Really cool. Instead of just making it a solid piece, nicely done. Especially in side characters like this, extra characters, they could have just made that one piece. Arms, similar build, exact same thing, I think. Yeah, potentially the exact same mold for the arms, which is totally fine, and then new molds for the hands because of the claws. And then it spins all the way around, and 90 degrees on the wrist as well. So let's look at the claw difference here. The claws are definitely longer on this than they are with the extra ones that are mispainted. And maybe that's just because they just copied this other mold and just extended the length of the nails, but yeah, that is a bummer. You can't have the lizard body with a sword. I don't know. I mean, I think it's clear. This is supposed to go with the lizard body. It's supposed to be green. They just, something still seems off about him, like the scale and stuff. Speaking of scales, look at the details. I love it. So he's got this abdominal crunch stuff going on. Let's see. Poor guy gets shorter when he mutates. So let's see, with that ab, he's got some range there before it pops off. But yeah, so there's definitely some range, which is really nice. Again, with these side characters, you kind of don't expect that. Jersey Red, how much articulation do you have? Man, look at all those earrings. How did I not notice that before? So the head goes around, no problem. So what's the range going down? Not too bad. Going up, pretty good actually. I'm a bit surprised. Her head tilts really nicely. Awesome. Her arms, let's see. I think we're gonna have some limitations. Uh-oh. I gave you a seal of approval. I wouldn't break a joint. This might be it. Nope, we're good. See, just don't manhandle your stuff. So the arms do go up. They spin at the shoulders, no problem. You know, nothing's getting nothing. So the arms go up and the shoulders do rotate. And then, you know, you just gotta get these joints a little loose. And of course that kind of plastic, it tends to happen where they lose the paint. Not unusual at all. The elbows, 90 degrees, not a whole lot of range, but it works. And then you get some rotation there at the elbow. The wrist, 90 degrees, works pretty well. Torso movement going on here, so how much range do we get? We can spin that around, so that's good. You could go forward just a tad and backwards pretty well. So you can get some good range, that's nice. Unexpected, to be honest. And then full twist at the waist. The legs, let's see, how far can we go? Actually, full splits, I think, because this is actually a softer material up here on the top half of the pants, and it works really well. Look at how well that blends. That's awesome. Man, it's so much better than what Hasbro does with that cutout. Ugh. Rotates because it is on that kind of ball joint thing that is pretty standard these days for NECA. We've got a 90-degree bend at the knees. Ooh, just about. Rotation, yes, so the knee does have rotation. We've got the boot also rotates, sweet. And then she's got some nice upward and downward articulation on that tiny ankle. And then the typical hinge point on the ankle. Forgot what words were. I just said it a second ago. So awesome. Very much a fan so far. Let's take one of these hands off and get that. Well, let's just take both hands off, huh? How about that? How about that? How about that? We did take these two hands off and put the other hands on. So we've got this one, which will be the trigger finger. Man, that's a tight little joint. And this one, which will hold the spray paint. I don't know, man. It's gotta be spray paint, right? Is it some kind of bomb? I don't know. Maybe not spray paint, because you would, whatever, it doesn't matter. Someone already commented, now I look like an idiot. So let's just take that person's advice. So the hand with the trigger, yep, goes pretty well. She's ready to blast away, man. Take out some turtles or whatever she's gonna do. But that looks pretty sweet. Look at that. It's nice. Is it spray paint? I wanna know. It kind of looks like a grenade, like a flashbang that she's gonna throw, but that wouldn't make sense looking that big. I'm just gonna shut up about whatever it is and just treat it like however I want it to be. Now she's drinking it. How about that? How about that? Mr. Person that commented and said, oh, it's obviously the thing because of the episode. No, now it's a bottle of water. It's because she's just trying to hydrate. She's out there fighting crime all the time. Not crime, she's being crime. She's fighting turtles or whatever, and she's got to hydrate. Duh. Now who's the idiot? That's articulation. Let's get into posing. All right, so there we go. We've got Grunt and Jersey Red, and they're awesome. I mean, it's just everything from this animated line has been fantastic. It's just so good to just go all in on these things. I mean, for anybody that's doing that, I imagine you're probably also getting 2 of these sets just so you can have Grunt available in both forms, because it's kind of a bummer when it's separated like that. But they look awesome. They perform better than I expected as far as like posing and articulation. You definitely are going to want to use one of the like NECA stands and maybe some tax stuff or whatever. But man, they're great. Of course they are. So I know normally I get into rating, but let's just do these things as like a scale system, because it's really, to me, it's just a judgment of how these 3 categories work. We have details, articulation, and posing. And a lot of times articulation and posing kind of are in the same rating, but not always. So let's talk about details. Details are awesome. 5 out of 5. The line is just always beautiful. The details are still there, so even though they screwed up the extra hands for him, the details are still perfection. So we'll talk about articulation and really kind of have to give these guys some different levels of articulation. I mean, you could do as a collective, but we have 2 different characters. 3 if you count the different bodies, but she would be, whoops, she would be on a scale of like a 3 out of 5 on articulation. I'd give him a 4 out of 5 because he just has better range, and his legs do a lot more because of how skinny and double jointed they are, but she does a lot more than I would have thought. So a 3 and a 4. And then that brings us to the posing, and the posing's super fun. You can do some dynamic stuff. Like I said, you're gonna wanna use a stand because they don't do well on their own. Her feet are so tiny, but you can still get her to stand pretty often. But I imagine she'd get knocked over pretty easy with something like that. So you can get some cool poses. They don't need a stand, but as tiny as her feet are, and even this guy, he does do best with a stand. At least, like I said, the little flat black ones or clear ones. Posing, I'll just do a collective. I think it's 4 out of 5. They're awesome. They do a lot more than you'd expect, even with Jersey Red. So I'm not gonna do final overall ratings anymore, I think. The biggest, that stuff is just informative. So you can make a decision, know ahead of time, like, oh, the rating, they're not like Spider-Man figures. They're not gonna pose like super well, but you get an idea what you're getting into, especially if you watch some of my other stuff. So no longer doing a final rating, because everything that matters is it worth it, right? That's the end question. Are they worth the price of $59.99? And I think it's gonna be a no-brainer for a lot of NECA collectors, TMNT collectors, and especially if you're in this animated line, you're gonna go all in. And like I said, some of you might even buy 2 packs so you can get him out both ways. Are they worth it? Yeah, because 60 bucks makes them $30 each, and you can't get a single You can't get a single NECA figure for $30 anymore. They are all higher than that. I don't think anything's 32. It's like 34, 37, whatever. So when they're $30 a piece, yeah, duh. Best deal of the day, man. So go out there, get your sets that are very readily available on the shelves of Target. And they're all put out because the NECA vendors that are a third-party thing, it's not NECA, it's not Target. Those vendors, man, what a pain. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. And if there's a channel that you'd like me to be on as like a guest or something with a live stream, yeah, let me know, and then go let them know. They're like, hey, there's this idiot over here that won't shut up, and he wants to come onto your channel so he can also not shut up there. Anyway, watch this video here to see more stuff from the NECA series, and we'll see you next time.